15th of the 1st, 2025. The time is 20 minutes past 10, and here is all your latest and greatest in F1 news and updates, for there are very many F1 centric threads at which we need to pull. We'll talk Max Verstappen's car, RB21 settings. It's going to get techie for the bulls that are red, isn't it? We talk about Will Buxton leaving F1 TV definitively now, no longer the stuff of rumour and or speculation. So too, we will talk about Lewis Hamilton's testing programme with Scuderia Ferrari and how there could be chaos that will ensue thereafter. Lewis Hamilton spotted with Sofia Vergara in NYC on a cheeky lunch date, and what that might mean for Ferrari in 2.5 and all of the furore. It, of course, has its strategic objectives, wanting to build, develop a luxury brand, no longer a sports car brand. Let's get to it. Will Buxton announced officially that he will no longer be an F1 TV employee, going across to IndyCar proper. That commentary gig will be his full-time job. No longer is the speculation that he was going to tandem, sit atop both F1 TV and IndyCar. Not happening. Here's what Will Buxton had to say. I want to take the opportunity to thank everyone at F1 TV for 7 incredibly happy years. I'm so proud of all that we created and all that we built. I'm excited to watch 2025 shake out, but admittedly now at least from my couch. Buxton added, my year and my racing season will begin in St. Pete. What are we doing here? It's techie this, isn't it, chat? I don't know how I feel. For the longest time, Will Buxton has been subject to much derision because of the way that he communicated his very peculiar style of narration, let's say, characterised on Netflix's Drive to Survive. But now that he's leaving, this feels like Joni Mitchell, that you only know what you've got. You don't know what you've got until it's gone. Do you know what I mean? That I think we need more like Will Buxton in Formula One, characters, colourful ones, dudes who don't hesitate to speak their mind. Yes, of course, he was absolutely criticised, derided yet again for the way in which he interacted with Alex Brundle after the Austrian Grand Prix last year, but I think this is what Formula One needs as a community and our broadcaster team. I'm convinced of it now. And I think, therefore, that F1 is a poorer place for Will Buxton's absence. Controversial take, I know, but I digress. Let's talk about Max Verstappen, because the race have written an article saying that there might be chaos. We could have problems as far as Red Bull next year. Brilliant article. The analogy that they've drawn, leveraged upon, is a MotoGP one. They're talking about 2019 Marc Marquez settings, driving, who rode even a Honda RC213V that only he could control. That by dint of Marc Marquez's brilliance, he was only able to have success. But any other rider that would jump on that bike struggled massively. How, therefore, is that different to Max Verstappen and RB20, RB21 this year? That it's a car that's techie, temperamental, mercurial, only able to be handled in the hands of Maximilian Verstappen. It's a brilliant article. I will link it below. The upshot of it is this. The Red Bull have been blindfolded by the brilliance of Max Verstappen. That Houston, they have some serious problems that they will need to amend for. Rumour and speculation, word on the F1 curb, if that's something in which you can be invested, is that they're going to try and simplify it. Pierre Vachet's come out and said nothing happened after Miami. This was an inertia valve or something like that, fiddle brake settings, that they just made some upgrades, and there was a difference between correlation, what they saw in the wind tunnel and CFD, as to what they developed, what was the upshot on track. There was a mismatch, even a disconnect between reality and theory. What they need to do, therefore, this article says, is simplify all of this. You remember the gun barrels on the engine cover. Take away all that nonsense. Simplify it. Sort out the bloody suspension. Enable Max Verstappen to ride some curbs. Laterally stiff suspension was their issue. This article concludes they have also introduced new kinematics to the rear suspension push rod, which has also kept similar alongside the front push rod. It's going to get techie for Red Bull next year, I'm telling you. This is really important because all teams will be sniffing around one Maximilian Verstappen, because some say that he's worth up to 3/10 on the rest of the field. That's the stakes that we're dealing with here. It will become techier than techie things. Oh, and by the way, of Lewis Hamilton, Danger Mouse, Outlaw, you're a legend. Turtle Dove, Max, Jomo. We'll go long later on, I promise. But bloody work and stuff is pulling me 1,000 gazillion different ways. Finally, Lewis Hamilton spotted outside with Sofia Vergara, a cheeky lunch date, having a cheeky flirtatious one. And I don't hate that for Lewis. Of course, it's the off season and he's got an off season. He's a human being. And of course, not just an F1 driver. What else would you expect from Sir Lewis Hamilton? Put a pin in that for now, though. Let's talk about the testing plan. Wednesday, January the 22nd, first day. What car will he be driving? Well, it was rumoured F175 of 2022 or the SF23 or F175 of 2022 or the SF23 of 2023. Now we know it will be the 2022 car, indeed the F175, under the TPC, testing of prior year cars. That will happen apparently at Maranello. On January the 20th, Lewis Hamilton will meet his engineers for the first time. Among them is Riccardo Adami, that chap who race engineered one Carlos Sainz Jr. to such great effect. Ferrari will then reportedly stage 3 days of running at Fiorano between Tuesday the 21st and Thursday the 23rd of January, with Lewis Hamilton's first on-track outing expected to happen on Wednesday, January 22nd. There is no special program, however, planned for Lewis Hamilton. He is expected to complete 1,000 kilometers of running across 4 test days. And this, ladies and gentlemen, I think is chaos. When you compare it against Michael Schumacher back in the day, who used to do 300,000 kilometers over the course of an off season, that would be his due diligence of the automotive pugilism variety. I'm not sure that this is enough, particularly under the broader headline of Scuderia Ferrari and all of the rancor and speculation that can go on around that beast. Here's what I mean. Already we're getting pictures of Lewis Hamilton potentially dating Sofia Vergara, yeah, and that's whatever it is, but I think that's indicative of something bigger. Lewis plus Charles plus Scuderia Ferrari is likely to be one of the biggest SH1T storms as far as PR that we have ever seen in Formula One. Lewis and Charles, are you having a laugh? Can you picture them coming out of the Fiorano garage in the red overalls with the yellow badge atop, with the black prancing horse atop? Can you imagine? This is no longer an F1 story. This is a mainstream story as far as Lewis, the symbiosis with Charles and Scuderia. And it's going to be techie. How they manage it as a team, how those two manage it as drivers is going to be critical. I will never forget Rob Smedley saying of Scuderia that it's not Ferrari, that is Italy's team. That when Rob Smedley was having fantastic success 2000 to 2004, Michael Schumacher was winning anything, that Ferrari were loved, that you couldn't go to a restaurant and buy anything because they wouldn't have it, they would buy it for you. But in the time when Scuderia are struggling, if Lewis can't get out the gate quick and experience some success earlier on, front load that, therefore, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury, Houston, we might have a problem. Rob Smedley said that the equal and opposite, the downside was this. When it was failure settings and they couldn't grab a race win to save their lives, Italians in the streets would spit at them. That's the level of passion, support and rancour potentially that we're talking about as far as Scuderia Ferrari. It will get techie this year, ladies and gentlemen of the F1 jury. How, therefore, do you like yourselves some F1?